What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Slayers. This is a special video that we're doing today. It is our 100th video. And we're going to go over a few things. We got some questions off the internet for you, and we're just going to do some rambling on about generic stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll start with one of the questions we got from one of our YouTube videos. It says, how did you first come into gaming? And actually it says AMD, but it's supposed to say and. What was the first game system you played? You go first or me?
You can go.
The first gaming system I ever played was Atari, as a matter of fact, 2600. As I've said in some of my other videos if you've watched them. We grew up very poor. I didn't have a lot of money as a kid. And so I had a friend who had a 2600. And I remember playing things like Pitfall and Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. But it always seemed like I got stuck playing the crappy games like combat, boxing, which I guess for back then was great. You know, I didn't mind as a kid, but that was well before I got introduced into Nintendo. That's pretty much about the first I ever played. No one I knew had Coleco or Intellivision or anything like that. So that got me into gaming per se. But then later on in life, of course, Nintendo came out. What, 86 or 85? Nintendo was released?
85.
Yeah, you know, I was 7 years old then, and Nintendo changed my life, no doubt. So, how about you?
Mine, the very first system that I played was the ColecoVision. And what got me started on that was, it was actually bought, my mom and dad bought it to play, and they would sit and play this game called Mousetrap. And then I got a game, I believe the first game I got on it was Smurfs.
Was it like the board game Mousetrap?
Yeah, it's almost like a version, kind of an off version of Pac-Man.
Oh, gotcha.
You get the bones and a little, I think mouse would turn into a dog, then you would chase the cats around. But my mom and dad loved that game, that and Donkey Kong. But they bought the Coleco, was playing it, and started playing that. Then from there, we got the adapter for the Coleco, which allowed you to play 2600 games.
Ooh.
And so, got that, and I used to spend on weekends with my friend Alex. We played Adventure, which was actually the very first ever role-playing game, which was made for the 2600.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you used to play Smurfs?
Mm-hmm.
We played Smurfs too, a totally different version. We had to hold our breath till we turned blue.
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
That kind of died out real quick.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It was a horrible pun though.
Yeah, I know.
No pun intended.
Next
Okay.
question.
The next question, dang it. I turned the music down, I took them off the screen. Damn YouTubers. Okay. What's your favorite system of all time and why? And go!
My favorite system of all time, there's two of them. They run a close race. And that, you know.
The Jaguar.
Oh, no.
Okay, the Jag CD.
No. It would be, of
And the
course,
32X.
No. It would be, of course, the favorite one was Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo is what started it all. But the one that my holy grail that I'm missing, I'm still trying to catch, but is my TurboGrafx.
Oh. You mean one of these?
Yes.
Well, that's the controller. It's not a TurboGrafx.
Yeah.
It's a little bigger.
But the Nintendo, I mean, like I said, Nintendo started it all, brought arcading into your home. I mean, if you grew up in our area, Nintendo is what you had.
You know what's sad about Nintendo? This one here was their last-ditch attempt to keep that average player. You know, this only retailed, a lot of people don't realize this. This only retailed for $50.
$49.90.
And it is the best Nintendo they ever made.
Yeah, as far as working.
Yeah. The only thing that people complained about this was it didn't have RCA outs. It only had RF out. But that's how Nintendo chopped the price. I guess back then it was more expensive, but they said that taking that RF out allowed them to cut the price of this in half. Which is, not RF, I'm sorry, RCAs.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me. But also, they gave up on trying to keep people from making bootleg games. This doesn't have a lockout chip on it, which is why it plays most games. A lot of people know this. If you have a Nintendo at home, you've replaced the 72-pin connector and it's still kind of iffy, you got to disable the lockout chip. Put on YouTube. If we remember, I'll get Dee to put a link underneath this video for a tutorial on how to remove the lockout pin. It was basically a chip that was put onto the motherboard. Okay, now here's what it did. It was made to, it read voltage, okay? And Nintendo games were made to run at 3.8 volts, I think, to run through the cartridge. So at the time, no one knew that. So when these unauthorized companies were making bootlegs of Nintendo games, you know, I think the standard at the time, the industry standard was like 5 volts, 4.5 volts, something like that to run through the cartridge. So that's how Nintendo stopped bootleggers, allegedly, from making games for their system. But it really didn't matter, because at the end of the day, you could always get around everything with a Game Genie. But if you replace your pin connector, if you haven't, obviously do that first. But do your lockout chip, and you'll be surprised. That makes a huge difference, because what happens is, as your pin connector separates, which is why you need to replace it as well, the voltage is actually different because the pins are further apart. It takes more electricity to connect them, and that allows you to disable the chip, and it doesn't matter if they're the right voltage or not. So, huge difference.
Nintendo did a lot of cheap stuff to try to keep you from playing stuff like their 64s.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but the 64 can be easily modified to play Japanese games. It is actually region free. The only difference is, if you look at a Japanese 64 game and an American game, is if you flip the cartridge over, you're looking at the back and the bottom, the little grooves that are cut into it are in different places. So all you have to do is take your 64, take the cover off, take the little dust flaps, take this completely off. It's a totally separate little oval. You take all that off, and your game fits down into it. When I worked at Microplay, yeah, it's kind of bad looking back on it, but we used to charge people $20 to convert their systems over to Japanese, to play Japanese games. And that's all we did. We took it apart, you know. Of course, you did have to have a special bit to get into them, but, you know, that's pretty common today. You can get those off eBay for like $2 or $3. You can get a complete kit, which unlocks all the different systems, all the Sega systems, and all the games. I think it's like $5, $6. It's like 6 different bits. Because like the Super Nintendo and the Genesis cartridges, I think, for the big asterisks, then the Nintendo games are the little asterisks. Game Boy games are a tri-wing screwdriver. I like the advanced games and stuff. So anyway, like I said, you can get that on eBay. It's not that big a deal. I would say my favorite system of all time, and again, this was hard because Nintendo was my staple, but I'm going to have to say Super Nintendo. And the reason being is, with Super Nintendo,
the
RPGs, exactly. I love role-playing games. I've had since the beginning of time. Of course, in some other videos, if you've watched them, I talk about how Dragon Warrior was my first RPG, got me into, you know, the whole genre of RPGs. And I used to play paper Dungeons and Dragons with my cousin Davey and stuff. But what a lot of people don't realize is that Dragon Warrior was actually the predecessor to Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy would not be around today if it wasn't for Dragon Warrior. Nope. Dragon Warrior did really bad. You know, it didn't sell good at all. That's the point where they were giving it away. When you got a new subscription to Nintendo Power and you bought the Dragon Warrior Strategy Guide or whatever it was, you got a free copy of the game. And that's how I got mine. And so I really enjoyed it.
But Super Nintendo really opened the door for RPGs.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the expansion of the cart, the ability to add... It still had 8-bit music, but the graphics were decent. You know, a lot of the games were still 8-bit graphics in a 16-bit cartridge, but the storage space is what really done it to be able to put so much into a game. And you had games like, you know, of course, classics like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, you know, Mario RPG. Then you had like Final Fantasy Tactics, but then you had the series Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore, Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. And the thing I think that really revolutionized RPGs even in that day, because all Sega really had was the Phantasy Star series, 2, 3, and 4 on the Genesis.
They were great games.
Yeah, they were great games, but they didn't look as good, in my opinion, as the Super Nintendo games. They weren't great at all, in my personal opinion. So, but again, that's just me. But the thing that I thought was amazing was Chrono Cross, because Chrono Trigger. Because that was the first game where your decisions determine the outcome of the game. You know, and one thing that Nintendo was on point was they knew who their target audience was, and they put time and quality into those games. That's back when I feel like they were really on the Square Enix. Well, back then it was the Squaresoft, and making sure they did a quality controlled game. And then they were like, well, we need some games for the kids. You know, kids want to play them too. So then you got Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Then you got Earthbound, you know, and Earthbound, which in Japan was called Mother. But that game there, like, was revolutionary at the time. You know, because it was a great SquareSoft role-playing game, but geared down for kids. You know, it was a really enjoyable game, actually, even for kids.
I know we're getting off the subject here of our questions real quick, but as far as quality and design, you got to get Sega one thing, the Lunar CD.
Oh, let me tell you, anything that Working Designs touched was gold. You know, Lunar, I forget some of that. They only made like 13 games, but they were gold, you know. And I remember when I got Lunar, the Silver Star, for my Sega CD, and man, I played that all the time. I'm talking all the time.
Well, it was one of the first talking games that was really actually clear enough to understand. I mean,
yeah, because I remember one of the main characters' names was Alex.
Yep,
and he's like, "Hello, Alex," and you're like, "Oh, it's talking," you know. Because when you watch the Sega CD, the full motion video was revolutionary at the time, but it was real grainy, and it was 16-bit, you know. So what do you expect? But then, you know, when the 3DO came out, that changed the world. And 3DO was one of my favorite systems too. But again, not my favorite system. That would be Super Nintendo.
I loved Wing Commander on 3DO.
Oh, I loved it too. Heart of the Tiger.
Yeah.
And it had Mark Hamill, and I forget the black guy's name.
I call him the Herman Head dude.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. But this is what I love: Sega's ingenious technology. Here, we'll take a system, stack it on a system, and plug another system into that. And this is 64-bit, when really, at the end of the day, it was all 16-bit. Yeah. You know, there's nothing you can do. Processing is 16-bit, even for the 32A. So, but, you know, could have been worse, could have been a Jaguar. So, but yeah, definitely Super Nintendo.
Jaguar even failed in its afterlife.
Poor Jaguar.
Nico tried to use her shell and still.
Well,
it's the curse of the Jaguar.
That company was bootlegging to start
Yeah.
with. Come to find out, it was like a Super Nintendo inside a Coleco or a Jaguar shell. Our next question is a lot of questions about systems. What system do you miss, and would you bring it back?
You want it or
You go ahead.
you know what I'm gonna say?
TurboGrafx 16.
Yeah, I would bring it. I'd bring it back because TurboGrafx 16 was really ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Just like Dreamcast was, but the Turbo. I love the idea of their games on the little cards.
I have to agree. I love the U card thing.
Damaging them and its space, taking up space.
Easy to clean because you
Yeah.
just take a pencil eraser, clean down.
But I love the games on there, and I still love the Turbo. What all did it have? The Turbo Duo.
Yeah. Then you have the Turbo CD.
Yeah. And what was cool is about their handheld game systems, you actually use the same game.
exact card. Yep. Kind of remind me of their Turbo. Was it Turbo Duo or Turbo Express? That was their
Turbo
handheld.
Express.
Yeah. You know, it looked like a Atari Lynx, but turned long ways.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was
and
cool.
it kind of looked like a Game Gear, you know, but long ways, and it was really cool.
But like I said, I thought it was really awesome that you didn't have to buy special games for the handheld. You just took them on the go.
And you know what? And now that I think about that, that actually is a revolutionary idea.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to play the same exact games on different systems.
Sega had the Nomad, but still.
Well, the Nomad still. Well, the problem with the Nomad was the reason why I think it failed was it was too little, too late.
Yeah.
You know, and that seems to be Sega's MO. They
Yeah.
either jump the gun, like Saturn. The Saturn was actually a pretty good system. I liked the Saturn. I liked a lot of the games on it. But they heard, oh, PlayStation's coming out. Let's go ahead and throw our system out now. And they weren't ready. They didn't have the third-party support like they wanted. And it wasn't. Now, Dreamcast they got right. But the problem is, to me, people falling off the bandwagon about Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was a good system, too.
Dreamcast was an awesome system, in my opinion. I mean, they still make games for it today. It's completely region-free, so you can play anything you want from all over the world on it. And like I said, as my knowledge, I could be wrong, but it was the first system that could go online, other than
the X-Band.
Well, yeah, like if you did Super Nintendo or Genesis.
It was built in with a modem.
Right, yeah, but no, yeah, you plugged the phone line into the to the Dreamcast and you could go. I'm pretty sure that was because PlayStation didn't have it. The PlayStation 2 did, but you had to plug a modem in the back.
Yeah.
3DO didn't. I'm trying to think, I think Dreamcast was it because I know Saturn you couldn't. Yeah, so, but yeah, that's definitely. You know, like I said, I mean, TurboGrafx would be a good system to come back with. For me, the system I miss the most, and I would say bring back, I'd have to say the Atari Jaguar.
You know,
No, that's horrible. Only if they would do third-party support. You know, I'm gonna be honest. There's not a system I feel they need to bring back now. If they could do, like, if I could pick any, it would be probably like if they could do a real good, like if Nintendo did a retro duo with a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo, where it was quality and it was really good. I would say bring that back. But as far as like, I would say bring back Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games. And I mean, I know we kind of get that because you got the virtual console where you that stuff's already been made. But if you look at like the PlayStation 4, for example, you know, there's a lot of games we play. Like Jenny don't like a lot of games, but she loved what was it? The Bro Force. Cheesy 8-bit shoot 'em up, very Contra-ish.
Yeah.
But you know, 8-bit graphics, 8-bit music. But it was really fun to play. It was a good co-op game.
I beat it.
Yeah. Don't you have a video of you beating it at the end or something? Yeah. So, you know, those type of games still have a genre. I mean, they obviously didn't go broke selling it. I mean, even though it was a free game eventually. But I feel like those 8-bit games, if they went back to that and put, with today's technology, you could really build, could you imagine it like a Final Fantasy 3 again remade with a whole new stuff? I mean, because you got to remember back then, those cartridges were 8 megs, I think, for Super Nintendo, because Nintendo games were 4 megs. I think Super Nintendo games were 8 megs. You know, you're very limited in what you can do as far as, I mean, for what you had back then, it was amazing. The worlds were very big. The difference is, though, the problem is, a lot of shit was pixelated. You know, like on Final Fantasy 3, when you got on the turkey thing, the Chocobo, Chocobo, whatever the hell it's called.
Chocolate chip.
Yeah, that thing. I call it the turkey. Look more like an ostrich, I guess. But anyway, the world would get very pixelated. Final Fantasy 2, when you get up in the airship, world gets very pixelated. You can clean all that up with a new day, because, I mean, you can get an micro SD card with 2,000 gigs on it these days. I mean, I couldn't imagine what they could put in the card. And that's why my excitement for the NX is, I kind of hope they keep it simple, stupid. You know, what they're wanting, though, they're wanting another Wii revolution. And I just don't think that's going to happen. As much as I don't like the Wii per se, the Wii did revolutionize the world in one way. It did put more systems in someone's house than since probably regular Nintendo. Old folks were buying Wiis. The old folks' homes. Yeah, nursing homes. You know, I know old-ass people who were 80, 90 years old who were playing Wii Sports. They were not boxing, but, you know, bowling, golfing, you know. And at the nursing home, they were probably boxing. That's how they settled over who got the last Jello, you know.
Now, I had Tiger Woods on the Wii, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, did you?
It was all right.
Yeah, well, it might
Until you learned how to cheat, and you could sink it from 300 yards.
Yeah. See, my problem with the Wii was that the whole remote thing. Because, like, with, like, Twilight Princess, it was kind of revolutionary. You know, you control with the nunchuck and actually have to swing your remote. But after playing 4 or 5 hours of that game straight, your wrist and your hand, it's tired. I mean, it's like you just spent the whole day touching yourself, you know? It's just like, I can't do it anymore. It's like I'm exhausted. And that was the one thing I didn't like about it. You know, I was just like, eh. And then games like Call of Duty, horrible. Yeah. Because you had to hold the nunchuck and then hold the remote like this. Like, pew, 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 pew. I don't know if it said pew, pew like that, but it just, I don't know. And then the Wii U, I liked. But the games you can't play with the Pro Pad, I freaking hate. I like the fact that I've got a base controller. So my hopes is with the NX that that's where they're going to go. They're going to go back to cartridge-based systems with a standard controller. You don't need nothing fancy. But the rumor mill is that the controller is going to be like a 3DS, and you can play at your TV and leave completely out of the house. Now you can do that with the Wii, with the Wii U gamepad. Like, Andrew can go in the bedroom and play while I'm playing something else on TV. But, who knows? So, our next question. What do you think is the worst system of all time?
You want to answer this together?
No, because I don't think mine's going to answer the same as yours, or be the same as yours.
You go first.
You go first.
No, I said you go first.
No, you go first.
Honestly, you probably know, I'm going to say the Jaguar.
I knew that was coming.
I hate that system. I mean, the controller itself was enough to say forget it. You had Well, the old,
let's see.
like an old style telephone looking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 24 buttons at the bottom. And I want to say there was like 2 triggers and 4 buttons on the top part.
And
yeah.
the only game that was halfway decent, in my opinion, was Alien vs. Predator.
Alien vs. Predator I liked, and Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein.
I did like
But
Wolfenstein.
actually, you can't go wrong with Wolfenstein. I mean,
have you played the ones on Xbox? But no. The thing is, back then though, they were really just rehash of the ROM. I mean, like Doom was pretty good, but like Doom on this, you know, it was Doom. You know, it was very pixelated, but you know, it was Doom. But it was the PC Doom, just put on a home console.
Yeah.
Same way with AVP and Wolfenstein and all of those. They were just, you know, they were put on there.
but yeah, the Jaguar, the game sucked. It was overpriced, and
I agree.
the controller was horrible. And it just didn't do it. One system I have never owned.
I owned one once when I worked at Microplay. We had 2 or 3 of them used. And so I spoke with Ted and I was like, look, do we want to buy any more of these? Because they're just not selling, you know. And so Ted was like, no, we're done. You know, I don't, because back then I think we were paying like $125 for them. I was trying to sell them for like $150 and couldn't sell them.
Yeah.
And I think we ended up dropping like $100 before we sold them.
Yeah.
But he said no. So I had a guy bring one in with 4 or 5 games, 2 controllers and all that. And he only wanted $150 for all of it. And Ted was like, nah. Because I asked Ted, I said, look, do you want to buy it? It's only $150. It's got some games, extra control. He was like, no, we've got enough. It's not selling. No, we're good. And so I was like, well, do you mind if I buy it? And he's like, no, go ahead. So I bought it. And then I don't remember his name, but he used to come into the store. You might remember him from hanging out up there, too. He kind of reminds me of Alpha Mega
I know you're talking about. He had the long hair.
Travis.
Yeah.
That was his name.
He drove it.
He was a metalhead, and he looked like Alpha Mega Sin.
I think he drove a little Volkswagen.
Something. And he came in one day, and he happened to be in there when the guy sold it to me. And he said, look, he's like, I know you bought it for $150, but I'll give you $200 for it if you want to sell it. He's like, since it's got all the games and everything with it. And I said, let me do this. Let me play it for a week, and it's yours. And I did. I played AVP and Doom and all them for a week, and then sold it to him.
Well, I know when I was managing Microplay, we actually got robbed. They come in, they stole a bunch of stuff, stole an Atari, Jaguar, everything. Next day, dude come back, apologized, and brought the Atari back.
Can you bring any other stuff back? Oh, I get it. Never mind.
It was a joke.
I get it now.
But
Well, with Shag, nothing surprises
yeah, I
me.
know.
I would have pissed on it in the middle of his floor. It bit me.
Randy.
What are you doing? Oh God, that man was horrible. That's a whole nother video.
But you know, we was talking about RPGs earlier. We had a guy. He well back then he was probably about 15, 16, legally blind, could not see really good. I mean,
I'm legally blind.
yeah, but he could, and he would play RPGs. He would sit and play, and his mother would sit beside him and read to him what it was saying on the screen, and he loved RPGs, and he would still play them. Somebody would sit and help him with it.
That's pretty cool. It seems a little hard to navigate around.
Yeah, but
I guess if your mom's there helping you and stuff, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to say, and I know I'm gonna get blasted for this. For me, the worst system was Nintendo 64. There was a handful of games that were good, and that was it. Mario 64, GoldenEye, Shadows of the Empire, Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing. That's all I enjoyed on that system. I didn't like Donkey Kong on it. I hated Mario Kart on it because, for me, the way it moved, it seemed slower, like it wasn't fast enough.
Break. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, Jaguar was horrible, don't get me wrong.
Well,
But
break it down like this, though. You take a regular Nintendo, 8-bit Nintendo. Can you sit down today and play a regular Nintendo game?
absolutely.
Take a 60,
I can. Some people
Take a 64, like GoldenEye. Can you sit down and play?
No.
No.
Me and Jay used to love that game when he was younger. And I mean, we'd play it for hours and on hours. And when I got that GoldenEye, when we met the guy and I bought that Conquerors and all that stuff from him, we sat down and tried to play it. Can't do it. You can't do it.
Now, Mario you can still play, but like
Yeah.
GoldenEye, Shadows of the Empire, just the way they move and the blockiness of it, it's hard to even understand what you're looking at on something.
Well, I call 64 in the beginning of the year of the polygons. Because for Nintendo. You know, Sega had already been there with Saturn. Virtual Fighter, Daytona, but at least they kind of smoothed that stuff off. But man, it was horrible. I did not enjoy the 64 at all. System I never bought. Bought a Nintendo, bought a Super Nintendo, bought a GameCube. Unfortunately, not a lot of good titles on there either. But I never did buy a 64.
Yeah, that was my Christmas
not new
present.
anyway. What?
I like the GameCube.
Uh-huh.
And I like the GameCube.
Oh, I like the GameCube too. I thought you meant the 64.
But
Do I have it? Oh yeah, I got a 64. I have them. I have them now. I didn't buy one new.
I got one new that year. That was my present for my mom when it come out. I remember her fussing about standing in line to get it.
Yeah, my mom was pretty pissed for my Super Nintendo. Because what happened was, again, like I said, we grew up poor. And this is when we lived in North Carolina. Was I North Carolina? No, I wasn't in North Carolina either. I don't know. Maybe I was. Yeah, I was in North Carolina. And my grandmother from here in Georgia came up. And it was Christmas time, and she said, look, I'll chip in $100 because at this time, I think they had just dropped the price from $250 to $199 for the Mario one. Now, they had the one without Mario for like $179. And later on in life, I found out my mom almost bought that one. And she was like, but how bad's that going to suck? You get a system and you don't even have a game for it.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting the system with Mario World. But my grandmother paid for half of it, and that's how I got it for Christmas.
It's funny that because mine and my sister Sheila, our birthdays are close together, and that was our birthday gift one year. We got a Super Nintendo together, and I remember she got to pick her game out. She got Final Fantasy, and you laugh at me, and I'll dump you out the chair. I got WrestleMania. All right, go on to your next question.
WrestleMania.
Yes, I liked wrestling games back then.
Back then, you like them now. Mr. WWE subscriber. I ain't gonna lie, back in the early days of wrestling and stuff, I enjoyed it.
It was more animated then.
Yeah, it was
the characters were more out there.
Yeah, it wasn't so much soap operas. Now it's all soap operas. And then there for the longest though, I couldn't tell if Stephanie McMahon?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was Vince in drag. It scared me. And then when China came out, that scared me too. OD. Can we talk about China? You like China?
It's too soon.
It's not too soon. She shouldn't OD. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Prince. Not upset. You OD. Who else OD'd? I don't care about. I mean, you do stupid shit, you OD. Whitney Houston. You smoked your kneecaps off. Can't help you. Anyway. Next verse. Or not next verse. Next question. What game today would you like to see an 8-bit version of? That's a good question.
I have no idea.
If you damn say WWE 2K16,
yeah.
I'm gonna knock you out that chair.
No.
I know what you want.
Let's see if you're right. What?
Grand Theft Auto.
I was thinking that. But see, they had a 16-bit version, overhead looking.
I like the one on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah, it was. But I don't know, I'm not really sure because I couldn't see taking some of the games today and putting them in 8-bit. It just
I agree.
the play value of it would be taken away.
Yeah, see, I would like to see a first-person shooter. We can say Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty Black Ops in 8-bit. You know how hard it'd be to snipe people and stuff because you see some blocks blended in. That would be awesome.
It's like sniping on Minecraft.
Yeah, I don't know how to play that. You have to talk to Andrew about that. I tell you about it, my proposition. I told him maybe one day they'll have Zelda, a Hyrule.
Yeah.
Oh, he's excited about that day. I said, don't mean it's coming out. So, but yeah, I would say a first-person shooter. I think it'd be kind of interesting. Gameplay-wise, probably suck. But The Witcher might be pretty good in 8-bit.
That'd be funny, but there's certain scenes you just couldn't do in 8-bit.
It'd be hard to watch an 8-bit sex scene on a unicorn. That'd be kind of funny though. Maybe a God of War.
Yeah,
That might be all right. What about you? What would you like to see an 8-bit version of?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's something you gotta want to see 8-bit.
My favorite games these days have already been in 8-bit.
What about Dead or Alive?
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
I mean, it's the same thing. Street Fighter's the 8-bit version.
It's not an 8-bit version of Street
What
Fighter.
about a Resident Evil?
Didn't they do that?
I mean, I'm talking about like one of the newer games.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Like Resident Evil 5 or something like that.
Well, I mean, the first Resident Evil was 16-bit, so for PlayStation. But no, your lack of video game knowledge disturbs me.
Well, no, because I said, first of all,
They didn't make an 8-bit.
my
Street Fighter.
favorite games these days have already been 8-bit.
They haven't. Street Fighter's never been 8-bit.
Mario has. That's my favorite game.
But you said Street Fighter. Street Fighter's 16-bit.
No, I said, never mind.
You said it's the same as Street Fighter. Finally.
David, can you edit this?
No. This is part of the realization of our channel. That you as a gamer blow goes.
I'm not as a gamer as y'all.
You have a question for us about our gaming history?
No. I pretty much know your gaming history.
You don't know David's. Ask David a question about his gaming history.
David loves Mario. The end.
He really don't.
He really does.
No, he loves CJ. Think of Donald? Isn't his name CJ? It's probably San Andreas.
Yeah, you talking about that one? Yeah.
What's your favorite Grand Theft Auto?
5.
See, mine's Vice City.
Now, I like San Andreas too. It was pretty cool.
See, I've got it. It's digital on my system, but I never played it.
And 5 is not really the gameplay, not the story mode that makes it special. It's the online play. It was like last night doing stupid stuff, trying to jump a motorcycle into the back of a moving dump truck.
Yeah, I heard you infuriated Ashton a little bit by shooting him.
Yeah, he got a little mad.
Yeah, that's all right. It's like a little gamer rage.
Yeah. What else is there? Again, this is like I
See,
said,
Vice City for me because of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I bought the box set to the soundtrack.
I have the soundtrack still.
He was all like, "Hello, I'm Carlos from Look Right Into Your Pillow at Night." I used to love that. It rains down in Africa. Another one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Toto. You know, if you could have just one game, stranded on an island, no internet connection. How you have electricity, I don't know, but we won't worry about that.
You make your wife pedal the bicycle.
There you go. Get her out of the kitchen where she belongs. What game would it be? The one game you had.
One game I'd have. See, I love Mario, but that would get old. Same old stuff over and over and over. I'd probably say the original Final Fantasy.
Wouldn't be bad.
That way you have a little bit longer gameplay. Lasts a little longer.
I would probably choose Chrono Trigger. Simply for the fact that you could play it a couple 100 times and it ends different.
Yeah.
You know. But the same going through gets kind of old. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I would want that or not. I would probably want a shooter, let me tell you why. Because you're sitting out there doing nothing, you're going to lose your motor skills. So, you know, if you have a shooter, you know, your fingers are always going to be tapping, and then you can apply that to, I don't know, maybe you should get like track and field so you can learn how to throw a javelin. Or you can spearfish.
Yeah.
Or with the Wilson. Wilson! You know. Now, what if you crash on an island like Tom Hanks did, and at the end you open that box and it was like, I don't know, it was like a Nomad with like 35,000 rechargeable batteries. How mad would you be? I could have played this game the whole time I was on this island.
All right, I'll tell you the perfect thing for Deserted Island is a regular NES and Rob. That way you got somebody to play with.
You know what? I didn't think about it. I should have said my own game would be the EverDrive.
Yeah.
With all the ROM emulators.
Like you said, no internet.
Well, you don't need it.
Well, if you, as long as you already got it loaded.
That's right. Well, I would already have it loaded. So, it'd be pretty good. If you could poof a game from existence, one it was never made, what would it be?
Yeah. On Sega Genesis, let's get rid of Barney.
Oh, Barney. I thought you were going to say E.T. I'm like, no, you can't. E.T.'s iconic.
E.T. is, I was going to say, it might have been bad, but...
Well, it's an icon.
Yeah.
It's iconic. It spawned a thing on Netflix, the documentaries and all that, and buried out in the middle of the, was it Nevada that was buried?
No, it was Mexico, wasn't it?
Something like that. Not Mexico. Maybe New Mexico.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Well, it's two different places. They speak Mexican.
Yeah, there you go.
They speak Spanish in Mexico. I like people tell me about that when they say, well, he speaks Mexican. I'm like, no, he don't. He don't speak a race. I was like, he speaks Spanish, and he's Hispanic. I love that.
Favorite controller ever made?
Easy, hands down, the NES Max.
Yeah.
Easy. The joystick thing was a great concept and all that, but it didn't sit in your lap right. The NES Max had the curved little things. I actually have a NES Max, so it's boxed. But it fit your hand good, and I really enjoyed it. After that, I would say, and I need to order one off eBay, see if I can find one, the Super Nintendo Pro Pad.
Yeah.
Those Pro Pads were really nice. They're the ones that were see-through. I had one over there for the Sega. I don't have one for the Super Nintendo. But, they were see-through and had little buttons. You could change it to turbo and all that. I really enjoyed that. I need to get another one of those like when I'm playing Zelda. So I can just hit the turbo button and let them keep swinging the sword. So, what's your least favorite controller? Jaguar?
Yeah. But I was also going to say the Power Glove.
Yeah. I would say the worst controller I ever experienced would be the what was that thing called? Give me a minute. They just saw it on Game Chasers. Oh, the activator thing for Genesis. Actually, I had a chance to play with that one time. It was horrible.
And I know we had talked about worse systems, but you also got to put that in it.
Virtual Boy, great system.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go blind. But, I enjoyed the system. It's horrible, but I enjoyed it. I wouldn't put it up there with Jaguar.
No, nothing's up there.
Yeah, I'd put it above 64, which is kind of bad.
I'd rather play a plug-and-play game than a Jaguar.
I have to agree with that statement. That's pretty bad, too.
The $5 plug-and-play, I would rather play that than a freaking piece of...
What about a $3.93 play? She's showing us something. What is that? Can you just tell us what it is? I
Taco
can't see that.
Tuesday.
What is it?
Taco Tuesday.
I don't know about no Taco Tuesday. Anyway, sorry guys for her interrupting her video. Let's get away from gaming just a little bit. Growing up, what would you say was your most favorite cartoon?
Yes, that's another one in there. I really can't...
I know Transformers is in there.
He-Man.
He-Man, yeah. See, for me, it would be He-Man and Turtles. I really love Turtles. I really loved He-Man,
Turtles
too.
was really good. The original the 80s?
Yeah, the 80s.
Yeah.
Like
But-
85, 86.
Yeah, but
maybe.
the original Turtles was the best one.
I liked The Secret of the Ooze. It was pretty good. And then the third one was horrible. I mean, I still liked it and watched it, but that was a horrible movie. And then when they redid the fourth one where it was the, like,
The CGI.
what they call CGI, yeah. And then the last one they made, Michael Bay, freaking horrible. I love my Transformer Shredder.
Yeah.
But the new one might be alright because we have Rocksteady and Bebop.
Well, it seems
In
like
case
the new
it
one
goes.
they're trying to take back to the cartoon a little bit more.
Yeah.
With bringing Rocksteady, Bebop.
Yeah. See, I think the reason I like the first Turtles movie was because the April O'Neil in there fit the April O'Neil from the comics and stuff. I liked her, and plus she was redhead. And then two, I liked Casey Jones in it.
Yeah.
Like the guy who played Casey Jones, like fit that role perfectly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, this new one's gonna be better.
I don't agree.
yeah,
They're supposed to be teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, I'm talking about the
Not-
new Casey Jones gonna be better.
Oh, I was gonna say not big buff Mutant Ninja Turtles.
well, they're alien style. You know,
yeah, they're
I'm
not
so
teenagers
sure.
anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how good that's going to be. So, but who knows? It might turn out all right. I think of another good question. Your most favorite toy? You know, as a kid, from 7 to till you got into video games. What was that one toy? Was your go-to toy? You always played with it. Transformers.
Mm-hmm. I also had a lot of, like I said, I had a lot of the He-Man stuff.
Yeah.
I had both castles. I had the riding toys. I don't know how many of the figures. And then,
You had a riding toy with He-Man?
well, their toys, their riding.
Oh,
they're
like
that-
Battle Cat
Yeah.
and Panther, I think his name was.
And then I also had a lot of the Thundercats.
Thundercats Ho?
G.I. Joe Ho.
Thundercat. Oh.
Haha.
What about you?
Mine was He-Man, but before that was Hot Wheels. Dude, but again, growing up poor, that was one of those things. Like He-Man figures were even back then were like what, $10, $8, somewhere around there. Hot Wheels were $1. You know, plus in order to get a He-Man, you had to go to Woolworths until they built that evil empire Walmart in Hendersonville. You know, you couldn't. You had to go to Woolworths, and that was in I don't remember. It was in a mall. I remember that, but I don't remember. I was too young for that to remember where. Maybe it wasn't in the mall. I don't know. It was like downtown Asheville. But yeah. So we very rarely went out there. So even going out there, you know, I didn't really get much. So, but we went to Bilo, was the name of the grocery store. We had Bilo, Ingles, and Food Line. But they all sold Hot Wheels, and they were only $1. You know, maybe even 75 cents back then. I don't remember. But you know, that's why I had so many. But I would get to where I would dredge water out of the creek, or not dredge water, dredge sand out of the creek, build little islands and build cities and stuff for all my Hot Wheels and stuff, and it'd be awesome until it rained, and I'd be pissed because it looked like, damn, where Ron Kisley lives in Canada if he's watching this.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
I mean, it might be free publicity for another YouTuber, but favorite video game YouTuber?
Right now, I'd say my favorite is actually a group, the Game Chasers. I like them. They're really good. And I kind of like their circle. But non-gaming, I would say, I like Omega Sin, Alpha Omega Sin. I like Pat the NES Punk. Metal Jesus. I really like Metal Jesus. And I like him because he used to program for Sierra. And growing up, I had a computer, you know, and Sierra, a lot of Sierra products is what I got. Because I remember when I bought my Packard Bell, it came with like 10 free games, and they were all like Sierra games.
Golden Mountain.
Yeah. But non-gaming, I love Alonzo Larone. If y'all know who he is, look him up. He's got a thing called Get a Dictionary, which is where he reads people's tweets and Facebook posts and stuff, and it just points out all the horrible grammar and stuff and what's wrong with America today. Epic Rap Battles, love those guys. Those guys are great. The Green Team, or the Green Screen Team, whatever they're called. That girl's breasts, they just frighten me. They're nice.
That's Green Team.
Whatever. Oof. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Those things are crazy. Their show really ain't all that good, but you know, you're just like tractor beam to those breasts. But really good. But it's a decent show. I like Rucka Rucka Ali, very dirty parody rapper, but worse than Weird Al ever thought about being. But I like him. And then I've come to the new one I've just come across, Instant Karma. It's pretty good too. It shows what happens when you're a punk. But what about you?
For the Game Chasers, also, that's kind of what mimicking our channel a little bit, out of giving tribute to them, the Game Slayers, but also non-video game channels is Tyrone Magnus.
Tyrone Biggums?
No, Tyrone Magnus. He does a lot of reaction reviews for movies and stuff like that.
So he watches people having reactions to movies?
Sometimes he will. But most of the time he does a reaction.
It's just his own reaction to movies. Sort of like, what's his name? The Angry Nerd, I can't remember his first. Norm the Angry? No. Norm's the Game of the Story.
Yeah. But
the Angry Bird guy, he does that.
Yeah.
Not Angry Bird. The Angry Nerd.
Yeah.
He does that too. I like watching his because he goes off on some of the...
Oh, yeah. He got a lot of flack.
For the Ghostbusters thing, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, because I didn't realize how much his channel
don't matter if there's 100 guys or 100 women. If the movie's no good, the movie's just ain't gonna be no good.
Well, like he said, it didn't need a sequel. Nothing changed except the roles. That's it. And they called him feminist because he's like, I'm not gonna go see it because there's no need for it. He said, I don't care. You could cast an all-male cast in it. There's no need for it. He's like, it's one of those remakes. Just like I hope they don't remake Goonies like that. I hope it's a whole nother movie. Yeah. It's like their kids in the future on a whole new adventure.
Ought to be.
Yeah. I don't care to see, like, I like to see if Sloth had a kid. Hey, die. Maybe. That would be great. So.
Well, we want to wrap this.
Yeah.
It's going to take forever
to edit this. Okay, guys. Well, those were some of the questions. We want to do something a little special for our 100th video. We'll try to keep it PG. David wanted to do some other stuff, but it was R-rated, and I
Yeah.
wasn't down for that. I told him, you had to buy me dinner first.
Yeah.
But
Remember, guys, we're still pushing to try to get to 100 subs, and as soon as we get to 100 subs, we are going to be doing a giveaway.
I'm just saying.
We will be doing a giveaway, and thank you for the guys that have been watching from the beginning, and hopefully you'll stick around for more, and more content, more fun, more making fun of people.
Makes fun of me all the time.
But anyway, remember to like, subscribe, comment, share the video, and guys, have a great week.
Sure, make fun of the guy with one eye.